Hello, and welcome to Ableton Live Lessons with Adam at the Hub. This is lesson 1 on EQ and vocals. Just going to click over here and let's get straight into it. So, today we're going to be learning how to treat a vocal using an equalizer. We're going to be using a very popular EQ. It's an algorithmic EQ, which means it's digital, and it's called FabFilter Pro Q. Okay. Now I'm going to have this lesson be fairly comprehensive, so I might go over some things you know. Hopefully we can touch on some things that you don't know though. So let's get right into it. The vocal we're going to be working with today is a hip hop vocal.
Share all I got's a little bit of soul. Sitting in style, the gutters round my gold. Helen at the moonlight to the thunder and neon lights. I wanna dance in the rain to the feel.
So as you can hear, there is a little bit of outboards equipment that's going on there. It's treating the vocal already. But we're going to EQ it in the box. So let's start this up. I've got this little picture here, so we can just have a little look. Okay, now as you can see, across the bandwidth, we have different areas which you can either boost or cut a frequency, and it will allow you to achieve something. So let's just have a look at this now. So from about 50 to 100 hertz, sometimes even a little bit more, you get some unwanted noise, what we would call mud. And if you have this over a lot of lanes, sometimes you find that your tracks will get a little cluttered and you'll have a bit of dirt here in this range. And sometimes even a little bit in the high end, you could have some maybe something maybe a little bit too bright. So you've got to watch these two areas. If you want to add a little bit of warmth and fullness to a vocal, you could boost this area. If you wanted to add some clarity to your lyric, you might be boosting the 800 to 1K. It's going to be a little bit higher. And then you can see across the board there's a lot of different things you can do. So you could remove the boominess. You could increase clarity on something from a male to a female, so there's a little bit of a different tone with females and males, and allows a different part of their voice to come out, so you're boosting a different area. So today we're going to be working with a male vocal, and I'm going to refer to this just so you can get an idea of how we're going to affect it. Let's go back over. So we're going to first look at the spot we are looking at, which is going to be a bit of what I call mud. Now it's not actually it's not actually so much here in this graph, but you can see in this EQ there's a dip here, and it's a dip around the 280 300 hertz mark. And I'll turn this over and we'll just have a listen to what it sounds like when we increase the frequency here. So
Share all I got's a little bit of soul. Sitting in style, the gutters round my gold. Helen at the moonlight to
now you can hear that that's gone very boxy. It sounds like it's been recorded in a box, or sometimes what we'd say muddy.
share all I got's a little bit of soul.
So when you have too much of this frequency in there, you're going to get this cluttered, dirty sound. So what we look to do is cut this. Now, let's have a little look at what tools we're going to use. So there's usually three main parameters you can alter within an EQ. One is going to be the frequency, okay, which at the moment is where the mud is at 314.88 hertz. So across this band we have 20 hertz and 20,000 kilohertz. So this is representative of all our sound spectrum that is within our field of this vocal, and even further, because there's some parts, if we analyze it by putting our analyzer on here, we'll see that some parts of the vocal, there's not much going on. So past 20k, there's not much going on. And even around here, you can see that this signal it's not a nice signal. It's something that's what we're going to call this mud. So we're going to remove that soon, but we'll go back. Now, let's have a little listen to the vocal again. Now, what we're going to do is use another one of our knobs. So frequency is changing where it is on the frequency spectrum. Okay, now we have a look at gain. So gain is going to push that up, so we'll hear the mud more, or if we reduce the gain, it's going to pull it out. So this is another parameter that we're going to be using, and the other parameter we're going to be using is Q width. So now Q width, what happens with that is if you raise your equalizer, or you raise the gain like this, you can just grab it. You move it to where you think the bad frequency is. So we can see just here that it's letting us know where we are. So let's slide over to around where we found the mud, which was 313, 315. Now we can go, okay, we don't want to remove such a large amount. So let's narrow the range of it. So if we turn the Q up to the band 1 Q to 40, you'll see that we've now got a spike. And when we play this vocal back, we can really isolate the really bad frequencies. A lot of people would call this EQ sweeping, and you sweep along a bandwidth to really find the place you want to cut. So let's just have a little listen.
Share all I got's a little bit of soul, sitting in style.
And as we can hear, that's right on a spot, which is really, but it's just something that's not going to be nice. So let's keep going through and have a
Share all I got's a little bit of soul, sitting in style. The gutters run gold, Helen at the moonlight.
A bit of mud there, a bit of what I would call boxiness. Now keep going along.
Share all I got's a little bit of soul, sitting in style.
We're not getting that same pronounced noise at that low. So let's keep going up. You'll find sometimes there's a bit of dirt around. Well, I wouldn't say dirt. You'd say what you'd call takeoff frequencies. So if you have a mix with a lot of 600 hertz, you'll find that these frequencies take off a lot. So let's have a listen to the 600 hertz.
Share all I got's a little bit of soul.
And as you can see, they're very harsh and abrasive. So with FabFilter, what we can do is take some of these out. These are going to be the main points that I'm going to reduce at the moment. So the 600K mark, we're going to pull. If you have a little look down here, we've got the levels of how much we're reducing by. I'm going to be reducing by 10 dB of gain. Now you could set that here, 9.7 as it's set, or you could just pull it down manually if you like. Now I'm going to have it as thin as I can possibly go just for the moment, and then we're going to have a listen back to it.
Share all I got's a little bit of soul, sitting in style. The gutters run gold, Helen at the moonlight to the thunder.
Now let's put it in and listen to the difference.
Share all I got's a little bit of soul, sitting in style. The gutters run gold, Helen at the moonlight to the thunder and neon lights. I wanna dance in the rain to the field of fire. Jungle like Jumanji, take a wonder.
And you can hear as we pull that out, we're getting a much clearer vocal. Excuse me. Now let's have a little look at where we found the other problem in this vocal. Now, as we said, it's around 324. So let's have a listen to this.
Share all I got's a little bit of soul, sitting in style. The gutters run gold, Helen at the moonlight to the thunder and neon light.
So now we can hear that it's definitely taking off more around the 375 mark than it is taking off
Share all I got's a little bit of
the 275 mark. So we're obviously going to cut a little bit more around this area. So I'm going to cut this one just for now. And these reductions are not permanent at the moment. I'm going to go back and have a listen to it and just adjust it at the end. Okay, now we've got rid of a couple of these nasty frequencies. We're going to do another one. Now, we're going to learn to interact with the shape of our EQ point that we put in. So at the moment, we're using what's called a bell curve, and this allows us to make a sort of bell shape here. We can notch it up or notch it down. We, at the moment though, are going to reduce this whole section. So the best thing to use at the moment is not a bell curve. The best thing to use would be a high pass filter, which is sometimes called, or you could call it a low cut. So high pass filter, where the high frequencies pass through, or low cut, where it's cutting the low. A couple of different terms. So this is sort of a nice spot around what I would say the 100 hertz mark. But let's have a look and just have a little listen.
Share all I got's a little bit of soul, sitting in style.
So this is nothing.
Now let's dance in the rain to the field of fire. Jungle like Jumanji, take a wander in Wonderland, go Peter Pan and Neverland and Neverland and never.
Now I can still hear this boxiness. So just as a reference on the fly, I'm going to start to cut a little bit of this and just try and work with my EQ on the fly, because we're going to treat it, and as you put in different areas, things get a little bit different.
Share all I got's a little bit of soul. Sitting in style, the gutters, rama gold. Helen at the moonlight to the thunder and neon line. So wanna dance.
Now we can hear that boost here is we refer back. We're getting this warmth and fullness now, and we're removing this boxiness. So let's have a little look at some other spots. We've removed the unwanted noise here. I'm going to have a look at some digital harshness or sibilance. So let's go up a little bit further. Okay, now we're going to have a little listen again, do some frequency sweeps.
Share all I got's a little bit of soul.
And instantly we can hear. We will scroll through just so you can have a listen to the difference.
Share all I got's a little bit of soul. Sitting in style, the gutters, rama gold. Helen at the moonlight to the thunder and neon line. So wanna dance in the rain to the feel the fire. Jungle line, Jumanji, take a wander and one.
So you can see you're starting to hear more S's here.
Share all I got's a little bit of soul. Sitting in style, the gutters,
which you could remove with a de-esser, or you could sort of look in and go, okay, maybe I'm going to do a little bit of this with my EQ. Highs can become a bit harsh, so I like to take out just a little bit, as really sharp amounts of the high if I can, just certain areas, just to have it a little bit of a more airy vocal and allow the frequency spectrum to blend with other instruments. Let's pull this out.
Share all I got's a little bit of soul. Sitting in style, the gutters, rama gold. Helen at the moonlight to the thunder and neon line. So wanna dance in the rain to the feel the fire. Jungle line, Jumanji, take a wander. Share all I got's a little bit of soul. Sitting in style, the gutters, rama gold. Helen at the moonlight to the thunder and neon line. So wanna dance in the rain to the feel the fire. Jungle line, Jumanji.
Okay, now we're going to put a little bit of this brightness back in, but we're first going to take away a little bit of the high end. So this is what we'd call sort of past human hearing up around here, depending on how good your hearing is. We want to cut a bit of that out to give us some more air, or what's called headroom, and space for the other frequencies to breathe. And then we're going to just pull this back a little bit. Now we can notch this around via the Q, and we can change which frequency. I'm doing it by hand, obviously.
Share all I got's a little bit of soul. Sitting in style, the gutters, rama gold. Helen at the moonlight to the thunder and neon line. So wanna dance.
You can hear there it's taking the brightness out.
Share all I got's a little bit of soul.
We're bringing more brightness back in, but still leaving some headroom.
Share all I got's a little.
Now we're going to put in a shelf, which is going to just give us a little bit more brightness. So let's go for a high shelf because we're up the high end of the spectrum, and just watch it lift this across the band.
Share all I got's a little bit of soul. Sitting in style.
That's what I would call too much. So just to have a listen to what it does, it gives it air and it gives it sparkle. So we don't want to over sparkle it because then it's going to be too present and it's going to be really harsh.
Share all I got's a little bit of.
Which is where it's at now. So let's reduce it.
Share all I got's a little bit of soul. Sitting in style, the gutters, rama gold. Helen at the moonlight to the thunder and neon line. So wanna dance in the rain to the feel the fire. Jungle line, Jumanji, take a wander and one.
Now you can hear we're just bringing a little bit more sparkle. Now I can hear some clarity coming through when I boost this frequency around here. So I'm going to just look in and just have a look at what that is and see if I can get a little another boost here somewhere. And if we just refer to this sheet for a second, we'll see that this will be lyrical clarity or presence and open up vocal. So that's what we're looking. Now we've added our air with the high shelf, which is this little shape here, and we've also brightened it. Now we've removed a bit of sibilance and some digital harshness. We'll have a little look at the nasal tone as well when we're boosting this just here around say 1 to 6K. Let's just have a little listen for it.
Share all I got's a little bit of soul. Sitting in style, the gutters, rama gold. Helen at the moonlight to the thunder and neon line. So wanna dance in the rain to the feel the fire. Jungle line, Jumanji, take a wander and Wonderland. Go Peter Pan and Neverland and Neverland and Neverland.
So I can hear a little bit of clarity there, and what I want to do is I never want to boost past the amount that I'm cutting. So I'm cutting a fair few frequencies here, but I'm also boosting here. So I look at how much information I'm cutting, and I try and cut enough to sort of balance out what I'm boosting, because I don't want to boost too much. If you boost too much, I'm putting too much in the frequency band. So let's just have a little listen again, and I'm going to look for this nasally tone here and just cut a little bit of this as well.
Share all I got's a little bit of soul. Sitting in style, the gutters round my gold. Helen at the moonlight to the thunder and neon lights. I wanna dance in the rain to the feel the fire. Jungle like Jumanji, take a wonder.
So there's a bit of sibilance and boxiness. So let's just take a little bit more out. Just have a listen. Now we're using bell curves for our reductions here, and I'm really heightening the cue to get as thin as I can, just to be precise.
Share all I got's a little bit of soul. Sitting in style, the gutters round my gold. Helen at the moonlight to the thunder and neon lights. I wanna dance in the rain to the feel the fire. Jungle like Jumanji, take a wander in Wonderland. Go Peter Pan and Neverland and Neverland and Neverlands where we never ever say never man. Go to better plan. Also weatherman, whatever the weather, sing and dance in the rain with a song. Gonna wash away the pain.
Now we can sort of have a listen and just go, okay, what's the difference between our old mix and our new mix? So we'll just you can bypass usually, but I'm just going to do it down here in Ableton. It's the power on button here, and then we can listen to our old mix and listen to our new mix and compare the difference.
Share all I got's a little bit of soul. Sitting in style, the gutters round my gold. Helen at the moonlight to the.
And you can hear the boxiness in this original one, and now you'll be able to hear the air and the clarity in the new one.
Share all I got's a little bit of soul.
Original, unaffected. Now affected.
Share all I got's a little bit of soul. Sitting in style, the gutters round my.
Now I'm hearing in the comparison some things I can sort of, maybe I've pushed a bit too hard, and when you start to get a bit of a perception for something else, you start to hear the difference. So sometimes if you're just listening to one vocal over and over, it's good to get a perspective of where you're at by listening to something else. Another thing we're going to quickly do is reference it on the beat. So
Share all I got's a little bit of soul. Sitting in style, the gutters round my gold. Helen at the moonlight to the thunder and neon lights. I wanna dance in the rain to the feel the fire.
now I'm starting to really like this high shelf a bit more, but I'm possibly boosting a bit too much here. So I might just pull that back a bit.
Share all I got's a little bit of soul. Sitting in style, the gutters round my gold. Helen at the moonlight to the thunder and neon lights. I wanna dance.
Now I'm starting to like that. So let's have a listen with the instrumental there and see if what we've cut out of the vocal is going to sort of complement the vocal, complement the music.
Share all I got's a little bit of soul. Sitting in style, the gutters round my gold. Helen at the moonlight to the thunder and neon lights. I wanna dance in the rain to the feel the fire.
Now if we listen to the original in this vocal.
Share all I got's a little bit of soul. Sitting in style, the gutters round my gold. Helen at the moonlight.
We can hear that vocal is flat and just not sitting in the mix as nicely. So we've really pushed this a little bit further than I wanted to cover, but I felt that we do something a little bit more comprehensive and just cover some things if there is some people who have never really interacted with these sorts of devices before. Now, in our next tutorial, we're going to be using some other audio effects and touching base on some of the skills we've learnt within this lesson as well. Stay tuned for more. Thank you very much.